Actor Jennifer Aniston is facing criticism on social media over her reaction to an Instagram post shared by Jamie Foxx. Foxx was accused of anti-Semitism after his post was interpreted as being anti-Jewish. His post read, "They killed this dude named Jesus. What do you think they'll do to you? Hashtag fake friends, hashtag fake love." Now, the post caught the attention of the Jewish news company called A Wider Frame, saying the post was horrifically anti-Semitic. The myth that Jews collectively murdered Jesus, also referred to as decide, has been used to justify violence against Jews for centuries, according to the Anti-Defamation League. The actor then deleted the post and then apologized, writing, "I want to apologize to the Jewish community and everyone who was offended by my post. I now know my choice of words have caused offense, and I'm sorry. That was never my intent. To clarify, I was betrayed by a fake friend, and that's what I meant with they, not anything more."
So how does the Friends superstar Jennifer Aniston factor in? Well, Aniston appeared to have liked Fox's now deleted post, so then she later denounced it, writing, "This really makes me sick. I did not like this post on purpose or by accident, and more importantly, I want to be clear to my friends and anyone hurt by this showing up in their feeds. I do not support any form of anti-Semitism, and I truly don't tolerate hate of any kind, period." But the confusion is causing a debate on privilege. Reese Colbert, host of SiriusXM's The Reese Colbert Show, tweeted, "This is what happens when in-group speak is broadcast to people who have zero black cultural competency and have never been around black people in a familial setting. It's obvious to us what he meant, but our own cultural context has zero value or consideration outside of the U.S." So what am I to make of this, Brianna? I have to say, if I had just, well, I don't know, if I had, because I didn't see it until I'd already known that people had called it anti-Semitic. So when I read it with that in mind, I absolutely saw why I would have guessed that the they was referring to Jewish people. But I am being told that that's wrong, and this is a common kind of expression.
Yeah, this is an in-group, out-group issue, exactly like that woman said that we just quoted from. I mean, first of all, many black people were frustrated because even if you thought there was an ambivalent interpretation, he did include hashtags to clarify the meaning. It was about fake friends. And colloquially, among black people in religious communities, of which I don't frankly belong, but I've been on many text threads with a lot of black friends over the weekend who were very animated about this. The parable is that your own can turn against you. It can be your own people. It's your own disciples. It's your own flock. That's what's being referenced here by "they killed Jesus." And the idea, the specific framing as, you know, it was Jewish people who killed Jesus is very much undermined by the reality of Jesus himself being Jewish, and which is why the whole fake friends thing even resonates, like on some sensible ideas.
Well, but it's because the follow-up line was, "What do you think they'll do to you?"
Yeah.
If they is Jewish people, that sounds very...
Yeah, if it's
the Jewish puppet masters are coming for you.
It's not Jewish people. It's the people who killed Jesus, which were his own people. That's the whole point. I don't mean religiously his own people, but his own flock. And so it's a common expression, and a common expression that's raised in.
I believe you, obviously. I had no idea.
To make the case for that, you have to watch your back, and that it can be people that you would or not ordinarily have a lot of trust and faith in that will turn on you. I think that part of what the frustration here is, though, that there is no grace, period. There is no demand for or request for explanation or clarification. It went from liking a tweet, which obviously, or Instagram post, which obviously did not seem so obviously anti-Semitic to Jennifer Aniston that it kept her from liking it in the first instance. She thought the meaning was ambiguous enough that she thought it was what it was. At some point, she doesn't just unlike the post, she makes a huge production of it in the subsequent post. She's probably trying to
get ahead of the cancel culture mob. If anything, this is a cautionary tale
Who's the mob that would cancel her? What's the mob that would cancel her? Who's doing the canceling here?
Knee-jerk offended people.
Who?
Jewish people in this case.
So it seems to me
or people who have a hair trigger for anti-Semitism, I should say, which is a broader category than just Jewish people.
No, I mean, this has been an issue. We talked about this with RFK Jr. We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
That there is a very sensitive, active, and well-funded interest group that does call out both real and sometimes badly, like, not real, frankly, instances of anti-Semitism, and that people are very concerned about coming under fire from these organizations. And so they are very quick to not just say, I'm going to unlike the tweet, my bad, but to feel the need to do a whole other post that very clearly threw Jamie Foxx under the bus. So there's an argument that say, hey, Jamie Foxx does seem genuinely unaware of how this could be misinterpreted, but was willing to apologize himself. This could have been a much lower key exchange between two people who I'm sure know each other and have interacted in Hollywood that nobody probably would have noticed. If Jennifer Aniston simply unliked the tweet and everybody moved on, this wouldn't have been a national story.
Well, sure.
But instead,
I think she was just afraid of getting canceled.
And who pays the consequences of that? She's afraid. So instead, it's to protect.
And so was he.
But to protect herself, this is why people are mad. To protect herself, she doesn't say, I mistakenly liked something thinking it meant something and the meaning was unclear. I meant no offense to anybody. She instead says, this really makes me sick. This really makes me sick. This being
anti-Semitism.
I do not support any form of anti-Semitism, and I do not tolerate hate of any kind. She doesn't know that Jamie Foxx was being anti-Semitic. And in fact, Jamie Foxx affirms that he was not being anti-Semitic. But she didn't say, I don't know what Jamie Foxx means, but to the extent that people are offended, I didn't mean it in that way at all. She accused Jamie Foxx specifically of being anti-Semitism, taking it on face value in this tweet. And she did not have to do that.
She accused after she must have been facing some pile-on pressure or something because she initially liked the tweet.
I just want to be clear, this is not some lefty cancel culture thing. This is a very specific...
What is a cancel culture thing?
Well, fine, but don't, like, that has been stigmatized in a certain kind of way. I just want to be really clear.
I'm not accusing the leftists of doing it.
It is a conservative kind of a cancel culture issue that would, instead of, if you have a genuine interest, as people should, in addressing real anti-Semitism that is on the rise, where we have, every other day it seems somebody's campaign finds some staffer who secretly used to write from Stormfront and has like a whole binder of like physiognomic profiles of people who need to be thrown into the gulag. You know, that's stuff that we should be concerned about. Tree of Life Synagogue, people getting mowed down. You know, that's where the focus should be. Instead, we have Jennifer Aniston, apparently without taking a moment to have a conversation with Jamie Foxx or to put out any kind of joint statement or to simply unlike the tweet and carry on with her life because it's not that big a deal, writes on her social media where millions of people follow her, this really makes me sick.
We don't know that they know each other that well. What do you mean, get a hold of Jamie Foxx? Maybe that's as difficult for her to do as it is for me.
Well, apparently, as you've inferred, and I think it's probably true, that some interest groups managed to get a hold of Jennifer Aniston and make their interests clear. But Jennifer Aniston can't put a note out from her publicist to his publicist. Not to mention, Jamie Foxx has just come out of a horrible health crisis and had communities rallying behind him because it felt like he was on the brink of death just a few weeks ago. It was just in the past week or so that he gave his first on-camera address to the public to know that he was even alive. So in the midst of all of this in his recovery, he's now having to contend with this.
It seems like everyone jumped the gun a little bit.
No, Jennifer Aniston jumped the gun. Jamie Foxx didn't jump the gun. Jamie Foxx was forced to respond after Jennifer Aniston basically sicked millions of her followers on him with this accusation of anti-Semitism.
What Jamie Foxx said, I understand how it would be read as being an anti-Jewish thing. I do.
Okay. So just like RFK Jr. makes a choice to defer to Rabbi Shmuley and give his.
I mean, I think RFK Jr. was well, I don't know if deliberately or not, was actually and effectively misquoted by the New York Times and others.
I'm talking generally speaking about his double down, triple down, quadruple down comments about Palestine. I'm not talking about any of the accusations of anti-Semitism. I'm saying that generally speaking, RFK Jr. has made a choice to not talk to person A and talk to person B and come out with his own views about the region or what's going on politically. Every time that he's coming under scrutiny, he gets Rabbi Shmuley to come out and in some instances literally stand in front of him and give his response when asked a question by someone about an issue like the occupied regions of occupied Palestine. And so it's fine to listen to people. It's fine for Jennifer Aniston to be approached and say, hey, I think this is anti-Semitic, but it's your responsibility then to use your own brain, to talk to the person who's made the comment and to make your own assessment about what's going on. That does not appear to be what happened here. Instead of putting out a statement even that said, even without talking to Jamie Foxx, some people might have been offended by this tweet. I did not realize how it was going to be interpreted, and so I'm unliking it, and of course do not support any anti-Semitism. She frames it as a fact that Jamie Foxx was being anti-Semitic, something that she could not know and apparently did not think was not interested in finding out, and said, "This really makes me sick." And that's why people are upset. And that's why people are pulling up. Do you remember the story we covered a little while ago where there was a photo of a bunch of Hollywood celebs getting together, including Jennifer Aniston, and there was not very much diversity at the table, and there was a discourse about what that meant, about their friend group being almost all white? People were floating that image back around saying, how could we be surprised that she didn't understand the cultural differences or the jargon here when she does not apparently hang out with many black friends to begin with. A lot of friends puns were happening over the course of the weekend, and also about the lack of diversity in that particular show. But, this is one of the many benefits of diversity, is that perhaps if she had someone a little closer on hand who could speak to the way that this expression is used commonly in the black community, then this whole mess would never have had to happen for either Jennifer Aniston or Jamie Foxx.
I guess that's so. More Rising after this.